This is Make It Simple by FSDH, where we simplify everything business and money.
My name is Osamuede Fadaka, the head of Global Custody at FSDH Merchant Bank, and also the managing director of FSDH Nominees Limited, the special purpose vehicle non-operating entity that holds assets on behalf of clients. Global Custody, as the name entails, is basically a vehicle or a bank that holds assets on behalf of investors, both foreign portfolio investors and local portfolio investors. So what we do is we hold financial assets on behalf of clients for safekeeping, and also we render trade settlement services on behalf of these clients, so as not to commingle clients' assets with that of the bank's assets. That's why we have FSDH Nominees Limited, which is a non-operating company that holds these assets on behalf of the client. So the assets of the banks are totally separated from that of the clients that are also the investors. The purpose of trade settlement, which is very key within the investment banking terrain, we hold assets and we also render trade settlement services for clients who have investments in fixed income instruments, both local and foreign currencies, for equities, commodities. And on the part of rendering services, we render services to fund managers, portfolio investors, individual investors, both ultra high net worth individuals and high net worth individuals, insurance companies, basically investors who in companies or people who would want to invest in financial assets. So the process is seamless. It's a straight through process from start to finish. There are no bottlenecks, and everything about financial investments is very, very timely. So custodians ensure that settlements are carried out in a timely manner. That's why, as FSDH Merchant Bank Global Custody, to be exact, we have a straight through process that we ensure that we are there to, and we are SWIFT enabled for all of our processes. In the investment horizon, as we speak, especially in the areas of where we talk about technology, we have a global reach, and we also ensure that asset servicing is timely, reporting is carried out efficiently, both to the regulators and to the clients in the form of portfolio valuations and other necessary processes that needs to be done. As custodians, we also render sub-custodian services to global custodians. Like, for instance, maybe we have global custodians who cannot or who don't have the wherewithal to have offices here in Nigeria. So we partner with them to also hold assets on their behalf. So that's why it's very, very key to have a custodian in Nigeria, and we are one of them. For safeguarding assets, as a custodian, the first and foremost rule about custody is that a custodian must operate a segregated account structure, which means that at every point in time, the client's portfolios are not meant to be commingled at any point in time, either with themselves or with the parent company that has a custodian license, which is FSDH Merchant Bank. One of the services we render is creating an account structure whereby clients' accounts are well kept, are safeguarded, the assets are protected from being commingled, so that in the area of reporting, the reports and reconciliations are carried out timely and are very much efficient. On the area of technology, we have a straight-through process whereby trade settlements and safekeeping of assets are carried out through technology. And at every point in time, while settling trades, we should be able to ensure that trades are settled. And at every point in time, when trying to view portfolios of clients, we should be able to see and be able to ascertain at every point in time that the assets are in true positions as at how they are meant to be kept. Then in the area of asset servicing, you have proxy voting. We should be able to carry out the consents of our clients at any point in time, corporate actions and servicing, cash management services, because clients will always have cash with their custodian banks. So at every point in time, we render cash management services to these clients to ensure that their monies are well kept. Reporting to both the regulators of the countries that their assets are being kept, even to them as the clients as well, because we also have a holistic view of their portfolio. So you have what you call the portfolio valuation report. So through that, they'll be able to see the holistic view of what assets they have at every point in time, so that they can use that to marry whatever records they have in their position. It helps them to also reconcile their position. And just to mention a few of the services that they enjoy with the custodian bank. Then to also add to it, at FSDH Merchant Bank here, everything that we've done is basically around technology. And we also take it a step further to have an API integration with our clients. We encourage our clients to have API integration with us, which also helps them to collect and process payments that went due. So, the process is seamless. So at any point in time, they can pay in, or at any point in time, they can move out monies at the ease of their offices or of their home, wherever they are. So the first and foremost investment risk has to do with asset reconciliation, asset positions. At every point in time, whatever is in our safe custody has to align with what the investor has already mandated us to hold on their behalf. So erosion of clients' assets is a very key risk, and this can happen if reconciliation is not carried out properly. And that is why, as a custodian bank, we should always have the necessary technology and softwares in place, which helps the operations team to be able to carry out their tasks properly, which comes to reconciling portfolios at the end of every day, because reconciliation is carried out daily. Maybe a client has securities in the morning, and by afternoon he's traded the securities and you have cash positions. So you should be able to align clients' positions at every point in time. So that is one of the key risks, to be able to carry a proper reconciliation. Then other risks, which also include failed trade settlements in this market that our clients invest in. A custodian should be able to ensure that clients do not put themselves in a position where they have failed trades. And failed trade simply means that whatever instructions they have put up in the market, either a buy or sell, they should have the obligations to be able to fulfill those instructions that they have put out in the market, or the mandates they put out in the market. Peradventure they want to buy, they should be able to have the money to pay for those securities. Peradventure they want to sell, they should be able to have the securities in place that they want to sell. It's not that after they have put up instructions in the market, they are now going around shopping for the instruments that they want to sell. That is a risk that a custodian should be able to mitigate at every point in time. And even when instructions go to the market, we also have a risk of counterparties. Especially in the case of arbitrary trade settlement, you have counterparty risk. So as a custodian, from the starting point to the finishing point of every trade, the onus falls on the custodian to chase both the client and the counterparties on those instructions to ensure that those trades settle timely and that they must settle. So we must not record a failed trade, because it will speak poorly on the custodian and even on the client who has put up the instruction. And when there's a failed trade, we have penalties both from the depository side, and maybe there may be penalties that may come to both the custodian and the client. So nobody wants to pay for such penalties. So counterparty risk is very key to ensure that those trades settle timely. And as a custodian, we have to ensure that those trades settle timely. We've talked about separation of securities, we've talked about the counterparty risk, and we also talk about the business, the custodian bank, being able to separate assets. When I mean assets, the bank has assets, they have their securities, they have cash. The clients have securities, they have cash. At every point in time, it should be seen that the custodian has position or has the capacity to be able to safeguard both the security and the cash of clients, so that whatever the client wants to achieve is achievable. When choosing a custodian, the first and most important thing you look at is the name of the bank, the track record of the bank that renders custody services. Look at the financials, the management, the board that speaks to the organization. An organization should always be able to show capacity to render services, and this speaks a lot, helps to boost the confidence of the client that yes, this brand or this organization has the capacity to be able to carry out this obligation. choosing the right custodian starts with looking at the brand, for example, FSDH Merchant Bank and FSDH Group as a whole, looking at the services they render, looking at the management, the track records, what they've been able to achieve, and also looking at what other services the brand can offer apart from the custody. Because over time, we find out that even our custodian clients, our clients always want added services. At FSDH, we have other subsidiaries who can also render these services to our clients. Right from the securities arm of the business, we're having a stockbroking firm, having an investment banking firm, which is FSDH Capital Limited, having an asset management firm, So basically, having a one-stop shop where the clients can feel comfortable to say, from start to finish, I can carry out transactions, and the custodian will be there to ensure that these transactions are carried out seamlessly. And being able to get reports, maybe research reports, advisory services. Because even at FSDH Merchant Bank, Global Custody helps clients to get information through FSDH Treasury, a unit in the bank, and even from other subsidiaries to aid and guide clients in informed decision making towards taking positions, both long-term and short-term. So basically, what I would say in a nutshell is that FSDH Merchant Bank is a one-stop shop, and FSDH Global Custody would be very much poised to render custody services to our clients. And here at FSDH, together we achieve more.